If you are an immigrant living in the United States or someone hoping to come to the US one day, I want you to pause for a moment and listen carefully, because what I'm about to explain affects not just visas and borders, but real lives, real families, and real futures. Right now, the United States is changing how it controls who can enter the country, how long they can stay, and under what conditions. Some people hear words like security or restrictions and feel fear, others feel confusion, and many people simply don't know what these changes actually mean for them. Today I'm here to explain this clearly, calmly, and honestly, so you can understand what's happening, why it's happening, and how it may affect you or your loved ones. Take a deep breath. This is not about panic. This is about understanding. The phrase restricting and limiting the entry of foreign nationals to protect the security of the United States may sound strong, even frightening. But in U.S. immigration law, these words have specific meanings, and they are part of a long legal history, not something new that appeared overnight. The United States has always balanced two goals at the same time: welcoming immigrants and protecting national security. Sometimes that balance shifts. And right now, it is shifting again. Let's start with what this actually means. When the US government talks about restricting or limiting entry, it does not mean that all immigration is stopping. It does not mean that immigrants are not welcome. What it means is that the government is using its legal authority to decide who can enter, who must wait, and who may be denied entry based on security, health, identity, or compliance concerns. Every country in the world does this. The US is no different. The difference is that US immigration rules are complex, and changes often happen quietly through executive actions, policy updates, or security reviews rather than one single law. To understand what is happening now, we need to understand how entry into the United States actually works. When someone tries to enter the US, whether with a visa, a green card, refugee status, or even through the visa waiver program, they are asking permission to enter. That permission is never automatic. Even if you already have a visa, U.S. border officers still have legal authority to inspect you, question you, and decide whether you can enter. This surprises many people. A visa does not guarantee entry. A green card does not guarantee entry. Even U.S. permanent residents can be questioned and, in rare cases, denied entry if there are serious legal concerns. This authority comes from U.S. immigration law, which gives the government broad power to protect national security, public safety, and public health. So what has changed recently? Over the past few years, the U.S. government has increased its focus on screening, background checks, and enforcement at the border and ports of entry. This includes airports, land borders, and seaports. The goal, according to official policy, is to prevent threats before they enter the country rather than responding after harm occurs. This has led to more detailed questioning at airports, longer processing times, increased visa denials in certain categories, and stricter reviews of immigration histories. For immigrants, this can feel personal, but legally, these decisions are based on patterns, data, and risk assessments, not individual emotions. Let me explain with a real-world example. Imagine two people applying for the same tourist visa. Both have valid passports. Both say they want to visit the U.S. for a short time, but one has strong ties to their home country, stable employment, property, family, and a clear travel history. The other has no job, no property, and previous overstays in other countries. Even if both are honest, the U.S. government may approve one and deny the other, not because one is a bad person, but because immigration law requires officers to assess the risk of overstaying or violating visa terms. Security is not only about terrorism or crime, it also includes immigration compliance. Now let's talk about security in a broader sense. After major global events, terrorist attacks, international conflicts, pandemics, cyber threats, the U.S. government often tightens entry rules temporarily or permanently. These changes may involve travel restrictions, additional vetting for certain regions, or new documentation requirements. For example, during public health emergencies, entry may be limited to prevent the spread of disease. During international conflicts, entry may be restricted to prevent espionage or human trafficking. During periods of increased illegal crossings, enforcement may be strengthened at the border. These actions are usually justified under existing laws that allow the executive branch to act quickly in the interest of national security. But here is something very important that many people misunderstand. These restrictions are not aimed at immigrants as a group. They are aimed at risks. Millions of immigrants continue to enter the U.S. legally every year. Students, workers, family members, refugees, and visitors still come. The system is not closed, but it is more controlled. This is where fear often spreads on social media. You may see posts saying, "The U.S. is banning immigrants," or "All visas will be denied," or "No one will be allowed in anymore." These statements are usually false or exaggerated. Immigration policy is complex, and changes often affect some categories more than others. That's why understanding the details matters. Let's talk about who is most affected by entry restrictions. People applying for temporary visas, such as tourist or student visas, often feel the impact first. These visas require proof that the applicant will return home. When security concerns increase, officers may apply this standard more strictly. People with incomplete or inconsistent documentation may also face more scrutiny. Small mistakes that were overlooked in the past may now lead to delays or denials. Individuals with past immigration violations, such as overstays, unauthorized work, or prior removals, may face stronger enforcement when trying to re-enter. And people from regions experiencing conflict or instability may face additional screening even if they personally have done nothing wrong. Now let's talk about what this means for immigrants already inside the United States. Entry restrictions mainly apply at the border, but they also influence internal immigration policy. When entry becomes more controlled, the government often increases enforcement of status compliance inside the country as well. This can include more frequent requests for documentation, longer processing times for benefits, and closer review of applications for extensions or changes of status. Again, this does not mean mass deportations or sudden changes for everyone. But it does mean that staying compliant with immigration rules is more important than ever. If you are in the U.S., you should know your status, your expiration dates, and your obligations. Small mistakes can become bigger problems during periods of heightened enforcement. Let me share a simple example. A student on an F1 visa decides to work off-campus without authorization because they need money. In a relaxed enforcement environment, this might go unnoticed for some time. But under stricter enforcement, that violation can lead to denial of future benefits or even removal proceedings. The law did not change. The enforcement did. Now let's talk about asylum and humanitarian entry, because this is an area where emotions run especially high. The United States continues to recognize the right to seek asylum. That has not changed, but the process has become more structured, more regulated, and more strictly enforced. Asylum seekers must meet legal definitions. Claims are reviewed more carefully. False or weak claims are denied more quickly. This is intended to protect the integrity of the system so that those who truly need protection can receive it. For people fleeing real danger, this process can still be long and stressful, but understanding the legal requirements is essential. Now let's address a very common question. Does protecting U.S. security mean immigrants are not welcome? The answer is no. The United States was built by immigrants, and immigration continues to be a central part of its economy, culture, and future. At the same time, every government has a responsibility to protect its people and institutions. These two ideas can exist together. In fact, many immigrants support strong borders and clear rules because they want a fair, legal system that rewards compliance and honesty. The problem arises when people are left in the dark. That's why clear information matters. If you are planning to come to the US, preparation is everything. Accurate documents, truthful applications, and realistic expectations make a real difference. If you are already in the US, staying informed and compliant protects you. And if you feel confused or afraid, remember this. Immigration law is complicated, but knowledge reduces fear. Let me give you one more example. Consider a family applying for immigrant visas through a lawful process. They wait patiently, submit documents, attend interviews, and follow instructions. Even during periods of increased security, their case continues because it meets the legal requirements. Compare that to someone trying to enter with false documents or misleading information. That person faces serious consequences, not because they are foreign, but because they violated the law. The system rewards compliance. Now, let's slow down and summarize what really matters. Restricting and limiting entry is about screening, not exclusion. It is about managing risk, not rejecting immigrants. It is about enforcing existing laws more carefully, not creating fear. The most important thing you can do is stay informed, stay honest, and stay prepared. Do not rely on rumors. Do not rely on social media panic. Get information from reliable sources. This channel exists to help you understand immigration law clearly and calmly, without fear and without false promises. Before we finish, I want to speak directly to immigrants who feel worried. Your concerns are valid. Immigration is personal. It affects families, dreams, and safety. But fear should never replace knowledge. Changes in policy do not mean you have no future. They mean you need to understand the rules more clearly, and you are not alone. If this explanation helped you, I invite you to stay connected with Legal Focus USA. We provide clear updates, legal explanations, and guidance designed especially for immigrants and international viewers. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future immigration updates. New policies can appear quietly, and staying informed gives you power and peace of mind. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next update.